Segment 3, Gold and Black Live. Justin Sinz joins us. Stacey Clarity returns to the show, and we're glad to have you here.
I appreciate it.
It's a silly thing to say. Well, you look like you could still play because you played last year, and you're still trying to play. Tell us what's going on in your life as we speak.
Obviously, I was picked up by the Colts that last day of the draft as a free agent, and I was there in May all the way through September 1st-ish. So I got released then, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously it was a great experience, and
Excuse me.
and a lot of fun to be there, and to be around that locker room and that group of guys was really cool. And yeah, my wife actually teaches in Lafayette, so that's kind of why I'm around in the area. So yeah, so I got to see quite a few of the practices and watch the games and stuff. So it's been good to be back.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the dream, when you're a player, is you want to be in the NFL eventually.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what was it like to live up to what you thought it was going to be? I mean, hopefully you get back there and you have a longer stay, but
yeah, it was really demanding, and it was ultra competitive. But when there's so many good players that are fighting for so few roster spots, that's kind of how it is. Especially in our position group in Indy, we felt like we had a pretty good group of guys and players who have been in the NFL and producing for a number of years now. So it was really fun. We had a great group of tight ends to be around, and really enjoyed my tight end coach there. And so it was a lot of fun. And like I said earlier, it was every day. You had to bring your best because everyone out there was obviously extremely talented and obviously pros.
Our guys always wonder, you watch shows like Hard Knocks and you see some of the things that and you've had that experience of finding out that you, at least for right now, you're not going to be on a team. But are they other guys at the tight end position helpful to you in terms of that? Is it truly a team situation, or is there some cutthroat nature of it?
From my experience in Indianapolis, the team was great. They like I said, the older guys, they really helped out the rookies, and they kind of showed us the ropes and would kind of talk through us with us on the sidelines and stuff. So that was great. I certainly didn't experience any sabotage or anything like that.
Yeah, good.
But yeah, so it was a lot of fun just being around them because, like I said, just listening to them and understand kind of what they were saying and stuff. It was really cool, and you got to learn a lot. So it was a lot of fun, and something that I'll certainly, if I don't get to go back, certainly memories that I will cherish that short time.
And you're from Wisconsin, so maybe it would have been more exciting for an Indiana boy to end up with the Colts. But is it hard then in the business aspect of you're not a Colts fan, and the Colts cut you, but they're guys now, so maybe you feel a little bit differently?
Yeah,
it just seems like a really weird dynamic.
I do. Obviously, you were on the team for 4 months, so So everything that they were kind of teaching, and their goals were to win the Super Bowl and stuff. So you were buying into the culture and living that day in and day out. So it was. Coming to Purdue, I would catch some games, Colts games, obviously because they're on in the area. But now I certainly have kind of watched more closely, just because like you said, the guys, and you kind of know some of the stuff that they're doing and probably talking about. So it's kind of fun.
And you're now in an opportunity too, and we were talking off air about the comparisons between Coach Pagano, Coach Danny Hope, and even Darrell Hazel. What have you learned now of those three guys that you've been around? You're now at a phase of your life where you want to take stuff from, you're going to use it, whether you're going to use it more on the football field or in business or in life. But what did you take from each of those guys, and maybe compare and contrast them?
Yeah, I would say one thing is just there's certainly not like one way to do it. And having Coach Hope and then having Coach Hazel and then having Coach Pagano, they all had some similarities. They were all guys that wanted stuff done well and limit mistakes and not have any off the field issues. That were all kind of similarities and stuff. But in terms of maybe how they constructed team meetings or how they kind of ran the locker room and stuff like that, you could maybe see your differences. But I think overall it's just that there's not one way that's maybe correct or not correct, but it's you got to kind of coach how you are maybe as a person and what's more comfortable to you. And I certainly have kind of learned from them that there's multiple ways that can be effective.
Yeah.
You're in this limbo now, this odd place of wanting to get picked up by somebody else, but not being picked up right now. So you've been able to go to Purdue practice then, quite a bit actually over the last last month or so. What just generally, I guess, are your impressions of the guys from being with them in practice, but then now having seen them play?
Yeah, I think the team is working extremely hard. From everything that I've talked to and heard from the off-season program, it was even turned up a notch from maybe our last couple years, and I think you can see it with their bodies and everything. But I mean, everything that I've seen is guys flying around and being competitive and not getting complacent and stuff. So I think they just have to stick the course and do what they do and do what they're coached to do, and the victories will start to come.
Yeah. Tight end, obviously a position that you held down and did well. We've got two guys now they're kind of rotating in that position that are being used differently maybe than you were. What advice have you had for them, and what do you see out of even a young guy like Cole Herdman, who's getting his first real significant time on the field? Yeah,
when I was able to go out there, I kind of tried to stay around them as much as I could, just because that's obviously what I played, and I thought that was kind of most effective, just kind of watch them and stuff like that. But I thought that for the most part those guys have done a good job, and like you said, they're maybe not playing as much as maybe me and Gabe did, the amount of snaps and everything, but I think when they've been in there, they've been pretty effective, and they've blocked well, and they've caught the passes that were thrown to them. I'm really excited about Cole. Obviously, we had him last year for his redshirt year, and I'm sure maybe rubbed off on a little bit, but he's coming into his own, and he's always been really athletic and can kind of stretch the field, and he's young. I was just talking to Gabe the other day, and I said, hey, Cole's going to end here with way more catches than me and him have if he stays healthy, because he's racking up catches in his freshman year. So he's been doing a good job, and obviously JJ is kind of the senior leader of the group, and the other guys have kind of followed suit. But yeah, for the most part, from what I've seen and kind of heard and everything, I think they've been doing a good job.
Yeah. They have a different coach, and Jared Parker was a guy who was really influential, not just in your life as a player, but in your life, as a man. Why do you think he's a good coach? I guess first off, and now this challenge that he has, and it looks like he's so far has done a pretty good job with this receiving core. Why is he the right guy?
Yeah, I think he just connects with players. He takes the time to kind of know you off the field and tries to earn your trust and respect before he really demands the respect back from you. That was always one thing he said is, he's going to take the time to get to know his guys and to kind of get what makes them tick and everything like that. And I think that's why he connects so well, because, he kind of knows what drives you, and he coached me probably differently than he coached Gabe. But, obviously we were two different players and had two different mindsets, and we're two different people. So I think that's kind of a good characteristic of a coach, is not coaching everyone the same, but maybe coaching them the same fairness, but not necessarily I do it to this guy the same as I'm going to do it to someone else, because everyone's different and everyone takes coaching a little different.
Yeah. Coaching in your future, when you're done playing, do you think? I mean, you come from a cerebral football background. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's certainly a possibility. I was just talking to Stacy offline, and I have not too much of a credits to go to finish a master's, so being a graduate assistant somewhere might be a good way to kind of finish that up, and then see if I like it and want to kind of continue down that path.
Because you had taken some classes last year, right?
Yeah, I'd gotten 24 credits of a 33 credit program here.
Oh, go for it. So. Yeah, absolutely. Get that baby done, no matter what.
No doubt.
So if you're Purdue's coach, do you make the quarterback switch?
Good question. That's actually on the line here, so you can go ahead.
I don't know for sure. Obviously, I do know this is, they're looking for a spark, and they're looking for something that can, get the team maybe just playing a little bit differently. I know last year when Austin took over, it kind of, sparked some offensive firepower, and certainly that the offense wasn't, not playing well, but with some turnovers and stuff like that, I think it's, obviously the coaches are around them the most, and see them not only on the field but off the field and everything. And obviously they made the decision, so they think it's in the best interest of the team, and hopefully they're right.
Yeah, you hope it. And you had, and I think I asked this question you were on before, or you got asked this question about the whole notion of what you learned from trying to get a program back to a level of relevance, and what is that? But what was that learning experience like for you? And it's difficult. I mean, to get to where you can win the games that you want to win. But as a person, as you go through your life, you learn something from that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just continuing to go to work every day, and for these guys to do all the things right off the field, and as well as as much as they can, obviously on the field. It certainly builds tough character, and the kind of the relentlessness to kind of keep coming back. I've certainly, like I said, I haven't been around a ton, but in the little time I have been around, I've seen a team that's hungry to win, and certainly has done a lot of work and a lot of prep to get the wins. And now it's just a matter of maybe winning a close game and starting to get some momentum, and I think the victories can start adding up. So.
This is a unique challenge this week with Bowling Green, just because, in theory, Purdue's offense is going to have to put a lot of points up to kind of keep pace. Mm-hmm. Were you in a game like that in your career, where you felt like maybe on offense not that you didn't want to be productive every week, but you thought we might have to, keep up with these guys and kind of be in a shootout?
I would say a couple of them against IU. With their up-tempo, probably a lot like Bowling Green, where they're going to run a ton of plays and just get a lot of snaps. So as an offense, I remember going into a couple of those games, thinking we're going to have to score a lot. And obviously, fortunately, I think in 2012 we did beat them at home in a pretty high-scoring game where it was kind of back and forth and stuff. But yeah, those games are always, kind of difficult because you have that extra pressure of we want to control the ball and we want to score points and that type of thing, and at the end of the day you just got to go and play football and be relaxed and kind of do what you're coached to do, and the score will take care of itself at the end. There's obviously been certain games too where you thought that was going to be the case, and then it ended up being a 21-14 game, so you never really know. And just because the team's been scoring a lot doesn't mean they're always going to score a lot.
So what's up with the Colts, though? It's been a rough start for them, and obviously a difficult, from the offensive perspective, surprised me. And I'm Stacy watches them a lot closer than I do. But a 20-7 loss to the Jets, I believe it was last week.
Yeah.
But now, I'm not, in terms of Andrew Luck is really talented, and yet maybe struggling a little bit now. I mean, is that overblown, or is it way too early to say?
I would caution that it's probably a little early because obviously NFL seasons are a little different. They're 16 games long, and an 0-2 start doesn't mean that you can't make the playoffs. And if you do make the playoffs in the NFL, teams have shown that once you can get in, you can win the Super Bowl. I certainly think there are probably some things that they have to shore up and get corrected going forward, but I also do know there's a ton of talent in that locker room and a lot of good players and a lot of good coaches, and I think they'll get the ball rolling and start stacking some victories as well.
What is Andrew Luck like?
He's awesome. You never really obviously truly know someone, and I'm not saying I know him great, but I was around him for quite some time, and he took the time to get to know the rookies and would talk to them not only obviously on the field but off the field, in the cafeteria and stuff like that. So he was a really cool guy, and obviously someone who's extremely smart to learn football from, and I really enjoyed my time discussing football with him and just being around him.
Yeah.
Are you doing shout? Who does? Are you big enough?
Shout. I don't know. I don't think
you're
so.
They're sworn to secrecy.
I'm not good enough.
Oh no, you're good enough.
You're not good enough. I feel like you bring some energy, maybe.
I think maybe Landon should do it. He's got a lot of energy.
That is, and Joe Tiller was telling the story about being drugged down to do it. I don't think he wasn't sure what he was doing. I still love that picture that we got from him doing it last week, where everybody's going a different direction. Joe's going this way. But would you like to do shouts? I mean, is that something? Is that in your DNA?
I don't know. Shout.
And there's
a lot of pressure on shout because it's. For some people, it might be the highlight of the game. So I don't know. I don't know if I want all that pressure, but it looks like the people who do it have a good time. So maybe
it would be hard if you were losing at that point in the game.
Yeah,
because I've always thought that none of these players better be dancing. To shout if the game is not going well. I always keep my binoculars out and watch the sideline.
It's just a lot more fun. I think it's just from the perspective of and we have our booth is open so you can hear everything that's going on. It's a lot more fun when the games and when there's some tension on what's going on in the game. There's no doubt about that from that standpoint. So I think that will be remain to be seen, but he's telling us he's not on the docket for tomorrow. But maybe he hasn't been asked yet. You don't know. You don't know how it goes.
Last minute call, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know who's doing it. That's why I asked. I was like, you're on.
I know Tom Schott has a lot to do with getting that put together and doesn't usually tell it. I can assure you one thing: it will not be Joe Tiller for a second week, or I would be surprised if it's Joe for a second week. What do you expect to see though tomorrow? This is in getting a program turned around. Sometimes there's just peaks and valleys, and there's that energy that's got to come so that it all comes forward at the right time for this group. Is that as simple of an example of what needs to happen, do you think? Is it just a case of got to do something well and have something good happen?
I think they just need to play well in all three phases. I know that sounds pretty elementary, but at the end of the day, if the offense plays well and can kind of control the clock and score points, and the defense can create some turnovers and get stops when they need to, and the special teams plays well, I no reason why Purdue won't get the win. They're obviously at home, and it's a game that they really need to win. So I expect them to play hard and play well.
Last question, if you have one.
You were a captain. Obviously, there are new captains chosen every year. Is there kind of like I don't know what the word I'm looking for, camaraderie, or kind of like, oh, we're in the captain club now, kind of a thing? I mean, do you talk to the captains on this year's team, or is there any connection, or is it just kind of like this was my team and this is their team?
I certainly think there is. I talk to guys like Frankie and Robert quite a bit. I don't know if that's just because they're captains or more so just because I knew them quite well, when I was playing. But I certainly know that, former captains when I was playing, they would reach out and they would, kind of see how you were doing and how the team was doing. So I certainly do think there's some sort of kind of connection and bond between those guys. And, obviously it's a tremendous honor to kind of be in that, whatever group you want to call it. And it's been something that I kind of look forward to, coming back and having that experience with some new guys.
Well, speaking of the old man as the group and someone that hires people from time to time, you will be glad when you're searching for real jobs outside of football that you were a captain of a football team. That speaks very highly of your skills on and off the field. Well, with that, we have run out of time, and yet, Justin, thanks so much for taking the time to join us on Gold and Black Live. We will be back next week. Yes, we will be back next week, and it will be that'll be in Mackey Arena. We don't know exactly the start time, but we'll be talking with Matt Painter. It'll be the first day of men's basketball practice. Ray Davis and A.J. Hammonds also will be joining us, and Stacy will be about ready to make her way north to East Lansing, but I think we will have Stacy and Kyle for the first segment to talk some Purdue football as well. Stay tuned for the time. We may start as early as 1:15 just to accommodate men's basketball practice next week. I want to thank our sponsors, State Farm agent Trenton Johnson, and of course Hilton Garden Inn, Triple X, and John Basham and the folks at Basham Rentals. Gordon, Allie, Cammie, all the folks at WLFI for their help today, and we will look forward to seeing you and having you join us next week on Gold and Black Live.